Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have a very special guest on the episode. He's a very dear friend of mine.
Are we? Are we friends?
Yeah. We actually haven't seen each other for 3 or 4 weeks now because you've been gallivanting around the world. So we haven't had a chance to properly catch up. So we're going to do that now. But yeah, Giuseppe.
Hello.
Do you just want to introduce yourself? Tell us who you are, what you do?
Yes, so I'm Giuseppe, aka Sepps on Instagram, which is mad. Very cool to say. It used to be Sepps Eats, Sepps _Eats.
I noticed that. Why has that changed?
So let's get into it.
Yeah.
That
wasn't planned.
It's cool though, isn't it? It is sick.
No, yeah.
So now when I'm out, like in the club, talking to people, whatever, I'm just like, yeah, it's at Sepps, and they're like, wait, just that's it, and I'm like, yep.
The one words are always there.
Yeah. So basically, I realized I was searched for it just randomly the other day. I was like, I wonder who has the handle Sepps, and I went on it, and there was this guy, and he had 3 posts, like 3 selfies of him and his dog from like 12 years ago, and that was it. He followed nobody, 0 posts, 0 following, whatever. And so I messaged my contact at Instagram. I was like, can I have this handle? And she was like, we'll see what we can do. And then the next day it changed. That was it.
Whoa. Wait,
this is why we're friends. I need to change my username.
So this person just lost their Instagram name, basically.
But they didn't post in 12 years, so they've obviously...
I'm pretty sure when you don't post for a certain amount of time, it gets
maybe.
canned.
I won't name the person, but you know the person as well, so that's fine.
A mutual friend of ours.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a word with her.
Her or him.
Yeah.
What would you put? What would you change yours to?
Just Matt Pearson.
If Matt Pearson is taken, though, you'll have a harder time, but because Sepps wasn't taken. Sepps was...
Yeah. Now it's changed to Sepps. It was Sepps Eats. So Sepps Eats. So there's a bit of a hint there to the people that don't know you and that are listening to this show, watching the show. What do you do? What is your job? What's your title?
So my job, it's weird to say out loud. I basically make videos online for a living, which is my full-time job, which is so weird. I'm a content creator. Right? I don't like the word influencer.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get onto that.
We will get onto that. But so I basically, my full-time job is making videos on Instagram, but I don't get paid by Instagram. I get paid through branded content. So at the moment, my only source of income is branded content. Maybe we could talk about how I'm trying to diversify that a little bit later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically I'm a content creator, and that's it.
Sick.
Not on OnlyFans.
Not on OnlyFans.
Maybe one day if I struggle.
Not yet.
But yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. Now, the first... We're going to get into loads of different things and probably off on loads of different tangents. But the first thing I want to talk about, because I feel like there's this really big stigma with being an influencer. Content creator, is being an influencer as easy as everyone thinks it is? Because I think there's a stigma out there that's like, influencers have got it so easy. It's such an easy job. You literally just take some photos on your phone and post them and you're being paid a lot of money. I'm well aware of the world. I've got a lot of friends in the world. I know how much people earn and how much they make and stuff like that. And can be a very lucrative career.
Yeah.
And I think there's a stigma out there that people think it's like a piece of piss.
Yes, good question. So I feel like as soon as you hear the word influencer, in my head anyway, I just picture like some model on Instagram with like 2 million followers and gets paid loads of money to just take selfies and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of content creators have the issue with the word influencer, because it's like basically just
it's almost got a stigma to it.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Whereas I feel like a lot of people are calling themselves content creators now is because it doesn't have the same stigma. But regardless, whatever you want to call it, it's definitely not as easy as everyone says, but from my experience, it's a lot easier than having a 9-to-5 job for sure. Like I get to work from home, travel a lot, and also my job is my passion. So I started making videos, and we can also go into this. I didn't start making videos to become an influencer or whatever and make money from it. I started it because people are asking me, what the hell do you eat as a vegan?
Yeah. So
I just started to take photos of what I eat with a caption of the macronutrient profile of it. So I could basically just say, right, go to this page. This is what I had for lunch yesterday. Has 50 grams of protein, whatever. And then this is in my first year of uni alongside like studies and stuff. Started to do more and more of it, and it just took off from there, basically.
But it didn't take off overnight. So I've known you for 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah.
We've become a lot closer in the last year or two. But we used to follow each other on Instagram, and like I remember when like we both had like 1,000 followers.
Yeah, literally.
And in the last year, it really blew up and took off for you. What did you gain like 200,000-300,000 followers in the space of how long?
Yeah, so basically I started it 2016, 2017.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And it took me 4 years to get my first 10,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then it took another 2 years to get from 10 to 30.
Yeah.
So in like 5-6 years, it took me 30,000 followers. And then last year, in about March last year, is when I started to do videos with my grandma. And it went from 30,000 to 100,000 in about 6 weeks.
Jesus.
And then I rode the wave as long as possible. And from then, we're now like 12 months later, and it's gone from 100,000 to 385, which is mental.
Yeah. So some exponential growth.
Okay, so what do you think it was that just off the top of your head, like one thing that maybe Nonna, is it Nonna, brought that kind of held the audience?
It's a good question. I think aside from the fact that everybody loves grandparents and cool videos, whatever, there was actually one specific video which I can attribute a lot of the growth from, which was maybe if you want to like overlay it on the video, it's this one.
More editing for you, Cameron.
Yeah,
Mate,
put it right
you know
here.
how long these take.
So it's pasta and garlic, basically recipe video I did with just simple pasta with garlic and chili and olive oil and salt, and that got about 5 million views in the first week. And that's when like the following started to blow up.
Yeah,
and then it's now on like 20 million views on each platform, like TikTok and Instagram, which is mad. So that video definitely skyrocketed from 35k to 100k.
Okay.
So that's definitely one thing I'd say for content creators: just keep on putting out content, and one will pop off if it's like really, really good.
Well, that's like us at the moment, because we're posting reels from our podcast, but like some of them, like one of them will like pop more than the other. And it's a case of just like being consistent and waiting for one to pop. But like, I want to kind of bring that back to your journey so far. Like you say, it took another year to get from like how 10k to 30k, and then but you were being consistent the whole time, and that draws back to any industry and anything. And we've touched on this in the pod before, but like consistency, laying a brick every day, you eventually get a house.
Yeah,
I love
it's
that
a compounding
analogy.
effect.
Yeah.
I'm also now 7 years into the page on Instagram, but I've only started monetizing it seriously in the last year.
Yeah.
So a lot of people want to start it and then start making it a full-time job like a month after.
Well, I actually want to know about this. When was the point when you thought this was like a business instead of just something that you did for fun? You almost maybe don't see the monetizable benefits of it because you think of it as a hobby at first,
exactly.
and then it's only when someone probably
And you
mentions it to you.
you also feel bad that you're like charging specific rates for things that you've done before.
Yeah.
But like it's just the industry is crazy. But so I basically left my full-time job in January last year, and I had that for 3 years after uni. So up until then, it was just on the side. And then January last year, I basically decided to just give it my all, because I wasn't able to do it alongside my job, because there was just a few complications. And I thought, well, if I don't try it now full-time, then I'll never try it. And I went full-time, and then that's when I started to make the videos, and it blew up from there. So
how easy was that decision to do that?
Quite difficult, but I think I'm very, very lucky that I've got a lot of great supportive people in my network in the same industry. I think the main thing is because we're in London, and London is probably like such a great bubble
place.
for being in like the content creator space, not just the vegan food scene, which is also great for.
Yeah.
But being in the content creator space in London, there's just everyone's so friendly, and everyone, like, there's so many events, and having that network is really helpful whenever you're discussing like opportunities or prices, which we should definitely discuss, because so many people are they don't like people, influencers and content creators don't talk about pricing. Yeah, they don't talk about pricing, and that's why everyone charges different rates. Yeah. So definitely we should talk about that.
So before you talked about so you're creating vegan content. So like why vegan content? How has that come about? Have you always been vegan? So I
actually get this question a lot. I was a non-vegan and meat eater for the first 19 years of my life. I'm now 26, so been vegan for 7 years. And it basically all started, so my dad was diagnosed with colon cancer, which came as a massive shock because my whole family is like really healthy. So I started to do loads of research into why, like what causes it. And pretty much everything pointed back to red and processed meat massively increasing your risk of it. And then I found out like that red meat is a class 1 carcinogen. Red meat is class 2 and processed meat is a class 1, which is the same as cigarettes and asbestos.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
crazy. And that's on the World Health Organization's like website.
Yeah.
So basically my dad was sick for like a year, had chemo, and had to, like, couldn't stand it, so refused it. And then had an operation to get rid of one of the tumors. And throughout this process, I basically managed to convince him to adopt a plant-based diet. And whether he was like really lucky with the operation or the diet, whatever, he managed to get like a 3-month remission, then a 6-month remission, and now it's been like 6 years, and he's still plant-based and feels a lot better. And also, my whole family are vegan as well, so that was what started it, health reasons. But as I educated myself, I realized the environmental benefits and ethical benefits and whatnot. So,
and that's what I mean. You don't know if like that was the reason, but like I'm sure it was one of the contributing factors, and like lifestyle change, health change, like all of that, it all plays in and ties in. But that's like a really personal story, and it just shows how much like that shift has impacted your family.
And that's one of the main reasons why I just continue to do plant-based food, even though I love it and it works for me. I just want to inspire people to even just try it like a couple of days a week, because and know that you don't have to have crazy expensive ingredients or and that's one of the great things about doing the videos with my grandma as well, my Nonna, is that a lot of Italian cuisine is naturally either vegan already or very easily veganizable, like vegetable soup, pasta with tomato sauce, aubergine, parmigiana, like all that things. You just swap out like vegan parmesan and you've got a vegan meal.
Yeah.
I don't really know too much about vegan like things. So is there anything, I guess, from if a person's like wanting to look into it, or is there any?
What
definitely
resources?
follow Sepps on Instagram.
First thing,
Waiting for the plug.
Aside from that, I mean, there's a great campaign every year called Veganuary, and that basically gives you
I've heard of that.
Loads of free resources and emails and meal plans every year, and just challenges people to be vegan for January. But otherwise, just try and make your favorite meals every now and again, and just swap them out for a vegan alternative. So if you're making like a shepherd's pie, use lentils or a vegan alternative. Swap out like your milk. Milk's probably the easiest thing to swap for a vegan, because there's so many options, and
there's so many good options.
Yeah, most of my non-vegan friends drink plant-based milk anyway, just because they don't like dairy. So just take it slow and swap out little things.
I suppose that's the thing that comes to mind. Is I'm more of like a convenience person. And so if the thing is more expensive or it's just more difficult to make, there's like more barriers in the way.
Exactly. And I think that's
it.
why the whole vegan movement has blown up over the last 5 years, because it's becoming more and more easy. Like now every single restaurant has a vegan option, and there's a lot of things in the supermarket which are just the same price. Like you can get a carton of soy milk for like 80p, which you can never really used to get.
Also, every coffee shop has an option to have vegan like soy milk,
and a lot of them don't charge extra now. Like a lot of them used to, but it's becoming more and more normal.
But I remember, like 4 or 5 years ago, when it wasn't even an option. Like it wasn't even a thing, and like the amount of now, like if I'm cooking, I'll get like some like what the cluck chicken or like whatever, and like substitute that in, and most of the time the macros are actually decent.
Yeah, literally.
Like, and like it tastes great, and I'm just like, it's easy. It is really easy. It's good, and it's way more accessible now, which is great.
Yeah.
So. Well, what I really want to touch on, and I feel like people are going to want to know this. So, how much success of your success is down to your Nonna? Because when I look at your page, your 3 biggest videos that are pinned at the top all have your Nonna in. And you said the video with your Nonna is what blew you up to over 100,000 followers and got however many millions of views. So how much success do you attribute to your Nonna? Because I think people ask you that quite a lot. And I know you obviously really well personally, but we've never actually spoken about that either.
No.
So like, how much success do you attribute to her, and how much of your brand is like latched onto her?
Good question. So it's not really something I've properly spoke about, but definitely I've joked in the past and said it's probably about half. It's obviously a very subjective, and it's difficult to actually quantify, but definitely from when I went to 35k to 100k from that one video, like mathematically that's over half. So I definitely attributed, like I made jokes on my Instagram story that I owe at least half of my career to her for getting me to 100k. Now it's crazy. I wouldn't say so probably about 20% of my branded deals are the brand wants to work with Nonna. But yeah, a lot of people always ask me as well, do I pay her? Which I definitely do. So I remember giving her the first paycheck, and I can even send you a video if you want to include this as well, because it's very cute. When I gave her first paycheck, like in cash, she basically just like broke down and she was so happy. And I said, what are you going to spend it on? And she was like, well, I want a new fridge and a new cooker. And then 2 weeks later, she had a new fridge and a new cooker. So that made me really happy, because she obviously, like, grandparents depending on everyone's situation, but they raised me a lot when I was growing up. My parents were at work, and so just to be able to give back to her is so sick.
Yeah.
And then obviously recently winning the award, I made a trek all the way down from Stoke on a train.
Okay, can we hold on a sec here? So Giuseppe and his grandma just won Creator of the Year. Creator of the Year.
Thank you very much. I'll pat myself on the back because you're too far away.
Huge round of applause for that.
I mean, like a long stick to like.
And you took I was watching it all on Instagram stories. So you took your Nonna on stage.
I did.
And you both went up and received this award. So it was Fortnum and Masons. They were doing the awards, weren't they? Mate, that's class.
Yeah, it was
Firstly,
very cool.
Huge well done. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Like, it's so good to see, someone close, like, winning something like that. And the fact that you took your Nonna up as well, it's just wholesome content. So that's what this world needs.
Can we explain like the outlines of like what that means in terms of winning the award?
Yeah. So
for anyone that isn't aware of like the industry.
Yeah. So every year, Fortnum & Mason, which is a giant like I don't know.
It's a bougie store.
Bougie store. They've been around for a couple hundred years, and they do these awards mainly focused around books. But they do 2 awards which are voted by the public. One of them is Personality of the Year, which the Harry Bikers won, and they won it like the year before that as well. And then another one is the Digital Creator of the Year award, which I won, which is the one I won. So yeah,
very nice.
And it's like good press for you. It looks great on your socials. And then, like, even better that you and your Nonna could enjoy that together. And
Absolutely,
I think the fact that you took her on stage, brought her down for the awards. She stayed in London for the night, didn't she?
Yeah, she loved it.
Yeah,
I still don't really think she knew exactly what was going on. She is 84, but she had fun.
But that just shows like how much success you actually do attribute to her. The fact that you brought her down for the awards, and
for sure, man.
Got her up on that, and
also people absolutely love her content and love everything about her, and I'm very aware that she's not going to be around forever. She's 84, so I just want to. My friends like to say I milk her. I just want to milk her as much as possible. But also, she loves it. I've given her a new lease of life.
Yeah, 100%. Also, she's now making money.
Yeah, exactly.
Is she? So when you get a brand deal come in, it's both you. Are you splitting the money 50-50? Like, how does that
essentially
work?
Yeah. So when it's a branded deal with her, once my management take their 20% cut, which we can talk about after as well. Yeah. I'll give her half of what I get. So it ends up being like 40%, but still, it's basically half.
Yeah, sick. So that's what I mean. She's now got another source of income that she can buy a new cooker, buy a new fridge.
That's it.
Like go on trips or
maybe one day she can buy herself a Ferrari.
Yeah, maybe.
Drive.
Yeah, she needs to get herself a new whip. That's for sure.
Yeah,
that's so wholesome, man. It's so good.
My friends also took the piss because I put them in a Premier Inn.
Oh, mate, come on, what?
Because I paid for it.
Why are they in Shoreditch House?
I know. And my friends but I did get her a first class train from Stoke to London. Oh, so that's got to count for something.
Treat, free food.
The travelling is probably the most important bit, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you want to touch on anything else?
Well, I don't know
Before I go on to the next thing.
Okay, I don't know if it's taking it a bit too far past anything you're asking, but I'm just wondering: is there any concern with having your Nonna in it too much, or losing the novelty? Because the whole point of probably why it would do well, I guess, is because it's sort of like in and out and you don't know when she's coming back and all these things. And the reason why I bring it up is because there's an example of KSI, and years ago he used to have his dad in his videos, but he just used to have him in like once a year, or you never knew. And then Deji used to have his dad in it every video after that. And so I'm just wondering...
And the novelty wore off, didn't it?
Yeah. So I'm wondering, is there any anything in the back of your mind with that, or are you just not thinking about it and you're like, oh...
No, very good question. Also, if I'm being silent and weird, it's just because I want you to finish before I start speaking.
No, it's okay.
I know it's a lot easier
Isn't
to
that
edit.
normal
like
manners?
Yeah, no, but usually when you're talking, you'll be like, but I know when you're
fine.
editing a podcast, it's like it's a lot better when the other person doesn't speak. So that's a really good question. So pretty much every video I do that doesn't have Nonna in, people comment saying, "Where the fuck is Nonna?"
Yeah.
Feel free to beep that out, by the way. But
we're allowed to swear on this podcast. To
answer your question, I do like to keep it quite minimum. I've in my head, I've come up with maybe like 1 every 6 videos is Nonna video. And a lot of people ask me as well, do I go home to film with her every time I do a new video? And generally I go home maybe once a month and I'll film like a batch of 3 or 4 videos. But yeah, I think the balance I've got right now is probably good because it's like every 5 or 6 videos. If I was to do a lot more than that, I'd probably get a lot more engagement and a lot more followers, but it'd be a lot of work for Nonna and myself, and again, probably lose that novelty. So I'm kind of happy with the balance right now.
Yeah.
So
I suppose you're trying to build a bigger picture. So like, if your Nonna's in everything, then you're no longer the brand.
Yeah.
Like, it's you know what I mean, you're still trying to grow you as a person, and like we've had conversations about that before, like, you know, doing other things and trying to grow, you know, more strings to your bow, essentially.
I was going to say something else then, but I forgot. But I'm sure it'll come to me.
Okay, cool. Well, I want to talk about how demanding is it creatively on you. So like, this is a podcast for creatives, and it's mainly freelancers and creatives that listen. So how demanding is it creatively to you for you to think of new recipes all the time and new content, and, you know, trying to figure out a new platform to post on? Like, what does that look like?
It can be very overwhelming, especially just to touch on the last bit, like new platforms. Like, there's so many platforms out there. Yeah. At the moment, I just focus on Instagram and TikTok, but there's like pressure to post on like Pinterest and like Twitter and Snapchat and Facebook, because apparently there's like other income opportunities on these platforms, but it's just so overwhelming. Yeah. And you've got to post, like, it sounds easy, you've got to post the same video, but it's actually not that easy.
Do you easily get just like tired creatively? And
so I definitely go through ups and downs in terms of how motivated I am and how disciplined I am in terms of when to film. Yeah. There's definitely periods where I've not filmed in like a week. I'm like, shit, I've got nothing banked. I've not filmed in a week. I need to film today, but I've got no idea where I'm going to film. So there definitely can be days like that. It's also a lot more demanding when I've got some branded content coming up, because then I've got to like mold myself into a specific brief, which can help occasionally. Like, say if a brand wants, I don't know, an Italian recipe, then it's obviously a lot easier for me because I just think of what Italian recipes I've not done. But there's always that pressure to constantly do something that no one else has done before. You don't want to like copy everyone and do the same thing. Having said that, though, it's interestingly very, very easy to be a successful content creator without being creative. So there's people there's definitely people I've seen, not like, I'm not going to name any names, but basically
if you do, look into the camera and speak to them directly.
Get rid of that bit, actually. I'm just going to start again. It's very easy to become a successful content creator without being creative.
Right.
So what I mean by that is you can easily just copy someone's content, literally the same recipe or the same comedy video or the same, I don't know, whatever restaurant style, and post it in your own way, whether that's with a different caption or a different music or a different video style, and that for also to go viral. Yeah. And you've technically not really been creative at all. So there's definitely a fine line, because I take loads of inspiration from other creators, and where it's necessary, I'll tag them, but obviously that's also subjective. Yeah. But I could easily just copy, I don't know, for example, your idea with the mental health campaign where men are crying. Yeah. I could do that, and maybe because I've got my followers, that would do better than your post. And I've not really been creative at all. Yeah. So there's definitely a fine line between how creative you actually need to be successful. But also, karma will get you and buy you back. So
no, 100%. But you live with another influencer. So Cal, shout out to Cal. Like, you live with someone else who's another food creator. Yeah. So what kind of pressures does that bring in? Because you're both doing the same jobs. And I mean, like, I know you very well, know you, Callum, through you. Like, you've had the same briefs come in. Yeah. You've had the same like brand deals come in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So like, how do you cope with that? How do you get around that?
So yeah, it's a good one. We it's interesting because we all have, like, as well, not just Callum, but also the other group I'm in with, which is the Plant Boys. There's like 9 of us, all vegan creators. And we all have our own management. And so occasionally we'll get a brief come in that some brands want to work with all of us. Yeah. And then that raises some issues because we all have our different like rates and stuff. Yeah. But in terms of living with Cal, it's great because we can bounce ideas off each other. We can see, can you check this edit? It's kind of like being in an office environment like this. And weirdly, we've had no issues yet in terms of filming schedules, because a lot of people ask us like, do you have a filming schedule? Like, what if you want to film on the same day? Yeah. But it's been like 4 months now, and so far there's not been any issues of like, I want to film today. I've hardly been there because I was
about to say, mate, the last 4 months since you moved in, you've not really been home.
So he's actually getting his money's worth, and I'm not.
He is, yeah.
Well, is there any crossover in terms of, like, let's work together on this video, and then, no, I don't want to work with you on this video? Like, does that ever come up, or
so there's
like pressure for that, I suppose?
I wouldn't say it's pressure, because it's probably a benefit that being in like the industry and, like I said before, being so close to all the other creators, there is scope there to do collaborations. So you might have seen I've done loads of videos in the past with other creators, and Instagram's got a great feature now where you can do the collab feature. So I definitely love doing that because it helps you reach a new audience and film together, but also equally enjoy doing the stuff on my own.
How would you say you're trying to like diversify right now as a creative?
So part of it is changing my handle from Sepps Eats to Sepps.
Well, actually, I was going to touch on this again. So like, does that mean you're going to like move away from food and do something else? Like, what's
Good
coming?
question.
Because if you're getting rid of the word eats, that says to me that you're no longer going to be just doing food content. And I know you like to get out there and interview people on the street, and you get there out there in Soho with a microphone, you're asking people all sorts of stuff. So you like to throw yourself out there. But what does that mean? Does that mean like there's something different that's not going to be food?
So there's a few reasons. One of it was primarily just for the fact that you like, I kind of like it, see it as like, you know, when you get a number plate and that less characters makes it to be perceived more valuable, or physically is more valuable.
Right, yeah.
So that's one aspect. So just the fact that it's less characters, it's
So Giuseppe thinks he's a number plate.
Yeah, I am a number plate on a Rolls Royce or a Ferrari. So that's definitely one aspect.
It just looks cleaner,
like TV
looks
people,
more
whatever.
high end. Yeah.
But also, again, like you mentioned, dropping the eats just frees me up to just be myself, my brand, and there's no pressure for all my content to be food related. Which is still for the at the moment the plan is to keep it fully food related. But not just like maybe recipes, but also maybe asking people about food, being out in the public, like you said. But then also I did a video on TikTok asking people to speak in an American accent,
I saw that,
which blew up. So I just thought, okay, I might as well post it on Instagram, and that had nothing to do with vegan food or food.
How did that do?
Well, on TikTok it has 3.5 million views, which is crazy, and then on Instagram I think it has 500k. So that also made me think, like, hang on, my content of me doing content which is absolutely nothing to do with food is doing well. So my audience don't hate me, like they don't mind other content that's not just food. So I thought, why not?
So it can open you up to like more lifestyle stuff.
And I do want to get into like presenting
and
other stuff like that. So
well, I think that's what people run into, even when they start a business, where they call it like Matt Films or something, and then later on they want to do something else but keep the name. And so if you keep it as eats, you do feel like you're restricted to just food content.
Boxing yourself in.
And the thing that you do in the future might not even be invented yet. Maybe you'll go into AI.
Exactly.
And you'll
but
be
my name will always
Sepps
be
AI.
Sepps. So
do you know what? I can relate in a really, really poor way. As in, like, my Instagram used to be Pearson Fitness or Matt.
Exactly,
And then I was like, I want to stop being a fitness person and be a photographer. So I just got rid of the fitness word, and now here we are. But
you don't know, do you?
But I didn't know at the time, and like it's completely, you know, getting rid of the word eats. Like, I get it, and like I think you'll smash that personality side of stuff and doing more presenting and all that kind of stuff.
Thank you.
So I'm excited to see where you're going to take that. So that's how you're planning to diversify creatively right now, you'd say. Yeah.
What about like the pressure between all the platforms? Because each platform has, like, I guess, a different kind of audience, even in a subtle way. Do you make any changes to your content across platforms, or is it generally you keep like all of them in mind when you create?
So good question. For example, for TikTok and Instagram, I can genuinely get away with posting the exact same content, but obviously making sure that there's no watermarks, which we can go on to in terms of my tips for content creators afterwards. Other platforms are a bit more difficult. So for example, Pinterest, you can post videos and photos, and they both do really well. So you got to do both. Snapchat is really hard to like build an audience, but it's also really good, and you should do a lot of stories on it because apparently you can earn income through stories, which I don't do. And then you've got Twitter, which really annoyingly, actually, I was just speaking about the video of me asking people about the American accents. The other day, loads of people were sending me this video that had loads of millions of views on Twitter, and it was a guy that just downloaded my TikTok and posted it onto his Twitter.
Oh, that's so annoying.
And didn't tag me, but he didn't know I had Twitter, so it's not really his fault. Luckily, he downloaded it from TikTok and it had my watermark on it. So there's a bit of credit there. But it just makes him think, like, hang on, if I was clever enough or savvy, I would have built up a small audience on TikTok, on Twitter, and posted that video, and then it would have done just as well. So there's definitely always a bit of like annoyance there, but
Yeah, and also, I don't want to say the annoying thing, but one platform is fine, and then next minute they change something, and it's like, oh, like Facebook stories are suddenly whatever. And
this is why I want to diversify my content to not just be on social media, because social media could be gone tomorrow, and it's always changing. So like 5-10 years ago, Instagram was the only like platform for video content, and it was the big dog. And now this other platform beast has come out, like TikTok, and just completely like obliterated that. And something like, I think it's 16 billion hours or something is spent a month on TikTok, but only 16 million on Instagram. So basically, whatever the number is, it's a 10th on Instagram per month as it is on TikTok.
It's crazy.
So that's crazy.
Go on, you go.
No, please.
Well, I was going to say, so these stats that you're just throwing about there, are you getting intel from the apps and stuff? So we both know someone at Meta. So like a people like Meta, who are Facebook and Instagram and stuff, are they giving you tips and tricks? And like, I know you go to the creators thing that Instagram have to like let you know how to like create with the new algorithms and all that kind of stuff. Like, as an artist, this goes out to anyone that's creating art and wants to share it, whether you're a content creator or a photographer or videographer. Do you think it's important to stay up to date with those kind of things?
Good question. I think the main thing you should do is just create content that's true to you and that you love, but also be mindful of the latest advice, because it's always changing, and the latest like algorithmic trends and whatnot. But people always love to talk about, there's been an algorithm update and whatnot. So try not to get too wrapped up in that and just focus on your content.
And be
but
consistent.
also be consistent. But also, if you're doing something consistently wrong, then even if you're posting consistently, like for example, if you're posting videos that are 16 by 9, and like Instagram hates that. So if you're posting them every single day, it's just going to be like...
Yeah, it makes no sense. Yeah.
So yeah.
Interesting.
From a creative process perspective, how long does like a video take? How do you come up with the ideas? Do you have like, I'm filming on these days and I'm scripting on these days and it's locked like that? Like,
He is not that structured.
Some people have like crazy
Not
stuff.
that structured.
I wish I was so organized. I think I need like some sort of PA or whatever, but that sounds so snobby actually. Basically, I wish I had just some kick up the bum to be like, right, you need to film on this day, you need to plan what you're filming next week. I don't do any of that shit. I just basically, if I've got a free day, I'd be like, oh, okay, right, I've been wanting to make this thing for a while. Let me film it. Mostly I have most of the ingredients in it already, because a lot of my recipes I try to keep quite simple with general ingredients that you can get from any store. But if I want specific like vegetables or whatever, I'll go to the shop and get them. And then I'll film. It'll probably take me can be up to like 3-4 hours to film one video if it's quite a long one. Otherwise, maybe an hour to 2, depending on how complex the recipe is. And also if I'm doing it on my own or with a collab. So yesterday, I filmed a collab recipe, and it was a simple recipe that you could make in probably half an hour, but it took us like 3.5 hours to film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have another question about that. Cooking, you can kind of only do it once in a way, like unless you cook like the same thing 3 times.
Yeah.
Is there any sort of like restriction or difficulty with filming, but then also capturing that, but then also making sure you don't burn the food? Or
it's not like you can rewind.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
So
mean?
a lot of the things that I cook, by the time I've filmed it, it's like freezing cold for sure. Or like by the time I've eaten it, it's cold.
It still tastes good though.
Because it still tastes good. Like you tried my pasta the other day.
Yeah.
I did have to reheat it though when we
It was nice
sat down
though,
to
still.
eat it.
Yeah.
I've lost my train of thought, but yeah, that's what I said.
Also, at first, was that a struggle at first filming and being like, how the heck do I film this, but then also make sure that it looks good? Because I think, especially if you're making food content, you want to make sure it looks like you actually know how to do it.
It's so true. And also, there's not really any like, pardon the pun, like recipe book to follow in terms of doing this job. So like if I look back at my old videos, they are so cringe, so embarrassing, terribly shot.
That's what we say, right?
Well, you said that about my videos?
Oh my God, you scared me.
Our own videos.
But
Matt maybe, because he's known you the longest. But
it reminds me of a quote, which I'll say, which is something like, if you're not embarrassed by your first videos or your first business title, whatever, then you started too late. So if you're not, basically what it says on the tin, if you started when you haven't really got an idea what you're doing, you just do it for fun, then you probably 5 years down the line, you are going to be embarrassed because you had a shit haircut or whatever.
Yeah.
But if it's like you've spent so long on it that you've basically wasted time.
Yeah. You've overthought it.
You've overthought it, and then it's just too late because you've wasted a lot of time which you could have learnt.
Yeah. So much. Yeah.
I've heard you're quite the quote man.
don't let me get the quotes out, because I've got like
his
5 years
little
worth.
black book.
Yeah, 5 years worth. So
he'll get them out. Okay.
I might actually release a book one day, and it might just be the best quotes of all time.
Or maybe you should add my quote then to it. I mean, it's not mine. I stole it from somewhere, but
okay. So how does it kind of, touching back on like being a content creator? So how does it work management wise then? So you said that you and you boys have management and you've all got different rates and all that kind of stuff. So like, can you give us any insight into, say I'm a brand and I come to you and I say I want a paid post on Instagram and TikTok and then like 2 stories. How does that process go down?
So, it kind of depends if you have management or not, but generally a brand will reach out to your management, or your management will reach out to a brand on a specific campaign that they're promoting. So let's say, for example, Marks and Spencer's have got a new vegan sausage coming out, and they want to shout out about it.
Sounds banging.
So they banging,
Yeah.
pardon the pun.
Yeah.
They will do a bit of outreach and generally get like the rates of all the content creators. Usually, like the best way is, for example, for the management to say like, what is your budget that you're working with?
The classics, and
Rather than
I'm
say-
just going to stop you there.
Go.
The back and forth between what's your budget? No, but how much do you want to charge? No, what's your budget? No, how much do you want to charge? And like any creative field, and the fact that a content creator is sitting there and saying the same thing, that photographer, videographers, we always have this argument. And it's like, how much do you want to charge? No, what's the budget?
That's the good thing about having management, is that I don't have to have any of that difficult conversations, and they will always, if you've got good management, will always push for the highest rate possible.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to talk about this because a lot of influencers aren't, and I think it's very important. Yeah. So I'll happily like say numbers. But basically,
I was about to say, can you give me some?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to, but I'll say it anyway. I won't. Well, no, what I'm
We
not
can
allowed.
always
We
tweak
can always
out.
take it out.
No, what I'm not allowed to do is say how much I got for a specific brand
okay,
or
that's
name a specific brand, but I'm allowed to say like throw numbers out everywhere.
Well, if say I'm a brand and I come to you and I want an Instagram post and
Yeah.
I want a TikTok post, okay, and a story, like how much is that going to cost me?
It's widely like flexible, right? So it could be anything from like $2,000 to $20,000, depending on how big the brand is and how much like following the social person has.
Yeah.
But for example, before I was signed to management, I was charging maybe about $400 to $800 a post.
Yeah.
And I thought that was decent. I thought that was the market rate. And the reason why is because nobody really talks about them and nobody talks about like what they all get.
Yeah.
Like they're very secretive. But when I got management and as my following started to grow, they were basically negotiating like 4 or 5 times what I would be getting myself
Yeah.
for the same when I had the same amount of following.
Yeah.
And so that just like some people say, oh, you don't need management, they just take 20% of your money, but they could take half and I'm still better off than I was
still
before.
getting you way more money.
Yeah,
than you had.
so
Yeah.
that's the benefit of having good management.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on how many followers you have, but also engagement. So it's not just followers, and also demographics. So say if Marks and Spencer wants to work with me, but 80% of my audience is in the US, then if unless they're stupid, they wouldn't work with me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. And again, it comes back how much budget the client's got.
Yeah.
And how much they're willing to
But-
spend.
It's crazy, right? So a lot of people think, another thing, which is an important point, that influencers have it so easy, they'll get like 10 grand a post, whatever, making so much money. But what people fail to realize is these brands have ridiculous budget, right? They will spend that money no matter what. They might spend it on a magazine advert, they might spend it on a billboard, and they've just got an allocated budget for influencers, and they're going to spend that no matter what.
Yeah.
So
They'll literally
that
have
is the
like
market
they'll
rate.
literally have like 300-400 grand more just for Instagram posts for influencers.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is something important as well to point out, is that you don't realize when you're actually running a business and you're doing things, the money's out there, and because it's not their personal money, like it's not like the producer or whoever's calling you and they're spending like their hard-earned money. It's just money from like a marketing pot, and you can really push for those.
But because the
like,
numbers are so
larger
big, you're
budgets.
like, oh my God, like, what? I can get paid that to do that? Because it's, but like you say, the business has and the brand has got that money allocated there for that. And that's how much you can actually get.
And what's also crazy as well is, say, for example, I do a branded campaign for 10 grand, but by the time the management have taken their 20% cut, and if the talent isn't VAT registered, then the company, the management gets the VAT, so that they're actually taking 24%.
Right. Yeah.
And then you've got to pay tax on your own income, which is another 20%. So really, you're
so say
actually
you get
getting,
10 grand for a post. Okay.
So if I get 10 grand for a post, my
you
manager,
lose 20%.
I'm 24, so my manager will take 2,400.
Yeah.
So I'm left with 7,600.
Correct.
Great maths. And then 20% of that to the tax man, which is
Well, a bit more if you're earning that much every
so
month.
20% of 7,600 is 1,000.
It's like
So
1,500 quid, right?
you taking home
Yeah.
6 grand out of the 10 grand at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah.
So just a bit over half.
Yeah.
But another thing that's important is basically having a limited company.
Yeah.
So I now have a limited company, which means that I can offset some of my income as like income to the company,
Pay
and then
yourself
just pay myself a salary.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't like forcibly put myself in the 40% tax bracket because that's just stupid when your company can earn less.
Yeah.
So going back to just like when brands contact you, for example, was there a set way of like, oh yeah, like I do like 2 stories and 2 posts for this much, or was it just completely dependent on what the brand was asking for entirely?
completely dependent on what the brand was asking for entirely, and also what if you're lucky enough to have mates in the industry, like what they're charging. There used to be, I remember me and my friends used to have some rule where it's about £20 per 1,000 followers or something like that.
Okay.
But I don't remember sticking to any particular formula like that. It all depends on, because I know people that have a lot less followers than me which are earning more, and I know people that have a lot more followers than me which earn less. So
why is that?
It depends on how good their management is, depends on the kind of brands they work with, the kind of content they create, and their engagement.
Yeah.
So the engagement on my Nonna videos is like ridiculous compared to how many followers I have, because I've got something very special.
Yeah.
But compared to my normal videos, it's not as high. So I would naturally charge more for my Nonna videos because I can almost guarantee it's going to get at least like 500k views.
Yeah.
Yeah, the business is so weird because someone with 1 million followers could have worse engagement than someone who's got like 10,000 followers because at least the 10,000 followers are more
That's it.
like responsive, I guess.
I feel like this is a good time to insert a quote about that, but I don't have any. If you have any.
I could probably just scroll to one, but it may be irrelevant to this conversation entirely. So
But no, that's so true though, because there'll be like artists or people that I follow that, like you say, they have like 30,000 followers, but those 30,000 followers are so engaged and interacting so much with their content. But just because someone's got 500,000 followers, they think they can like charge more money. But a lot of those followers maybe not even active, like aren't even commenting, aren't even engaged
Or
in
bots
that. Yeah. So, you know, just because there's a big number on the screen, it doesn't mean they're getting paid more.
Yeah. And also my friend said to me a good piece of advice the other day, which was don't confuse visibility for success. So not necessarily just with following, but if you're everywhere, if you're trying to talk to everyone, you might be like physically visible everywhere, but you might behind the scenes, like what are you working on, like what strategies have you got in place?
Yeah. And also being everywhere all the time can affect your brand negatively. Like you can get associated with being like something, or like associated with a brand a lot, and then that can then alter the way that you like do business down the line.
And one big thing that my management, which I'm lucky to have, is they're really, really good with things like usage and exclusivity. Yeah. And so not a lot of influencers even realize the value in that. But for example, a $5,000 campaign could be bumped up to 10 grand if the brand wants a year's exclusivity for, I don't know, a kitchen brand, or they want to put you on the website for a year. Yeah. So I recently said no to a campaign. This company wanted to fly me to Italy for 10 days, and I had to just do a few TikToks and a few Instagram videos for $5,000, right? But they wanted a year's usage on the website and thousands of pounds on their social media. Right. So I would effectively been popping up on people's adverts
all the time
associated with that brand, and that's worth a lot more than $5,000.
Well, I think
not just because of who I am, but just because that's usage.
Well, I want to talk about usage now because it's the same in our industry, and it's the same like as a photographer. So if a brand decides to put the images like, you know, all over Europe in all the stores and on the tube, then you know your fee is getting 10, 20, 30,000 pounds.
Or in Nighttown.
Is getting more and more expensive.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the same in every creative industry. So I think like that's really important to talk about, because I think a lot of people don't know that. So essentially you have your day rate and your fee for doing a certain post or providing your skill set. Yeah. But then what changes the fee is what it's being used for and where it's being used and how long it's being used for. So is it being used on social media, on website, on the tube? Like, where is it going? How long is it going for? And, you know, is it, like you say, exclusive to that brand and all that kind of stuff? That's going to drastically change your fee.
And that's another thing that people like, you might think, oh yeah, I got 10 grand to do that post, but that's not that that fee is included in a lot of other things behind the scenes that's worth that money.
Yeah. And the grey area that I wanted to then go into was, so if a brand says, oh, well, we only want to use it on social media, but then they take that photo or that video that you've created and they spend 50 grand on a sponsored post on it. So they put ad spend behind it, and then it's seen by 3 million people. Well, then you should be getting paid way more. Because it's like being put on a billboard in Times Square for however many long, like the same amount of people would see it there. But you just think because it's on a social media and it's on your phone, like you need to realize as well that then you need to be paid more money because it's being plastered in front of millions of other people. Just because it's now on a different platform, and in a different way doesn't mean that your fee shouldn't change. You should be paid more money for that.
Yeah. So what I've seen in contracts as well is now they'll tell you how much money they're planning on spending on the ad spend. So if it's like £2,000, and that's fine, maybe just pay £500 for that.
Yeah.
Or if it's something like, I don't know, 500 grand, then
it's going to be seen by millions.
Yeah.
Well, I had a brand deal come through about a shoot come through recently, and there was like, we want to do 1 year social usage, and I'm like, cool. Are you putting ad spend behind that? Because you need to know that. They might leave that part out, and you need to make
ask
sure
those questions.
Yeah, you need to ask those questions and clear that up.
Which is why it's good to have management.
Exactly. And, you know, for those of you listening that don't have management, now you know that you need to ask these questions like, where's it being used? How long do you plan on using it for? And are you putting ad spend behind it?
Yeah.
Like, what are you planning to do with it? Because if you hand over the final piece and they can then decide to start doing what they want with it, a brand could like put it on, you know, spend, like I say, £10,000 on a sponsor post, and it could sell their product like tenfold.
And so many brands do that.
Yeah.
And they can like wiggle around with it.
Yeah, and that's down to your content or whatever it is that you've created.
Yeah.
You should be being like, what's the word?
Remunerated.
What is the word?
I don't know what word you're on about.
That word.
Yeah.
You should be that word.
Paid.
You need to be paid. Yeah.
Well, I imagine as well you would also have to make sure they understand this amount of viewers means that this is the amount of sales we'll make, like conversion. Like, is there any of that?
Luckily in the industry as well, there's not really any like guarantee. So I'd never have to guarantee a particular amount of views for a brand in order to, which is kind of good because you can never really guarantee. So yeah, that's probably a benefit to it for sure.
Yeah, well, because I imagine, say, like, if they're like, oh, we're spending 50 grand, we're going to put it in front of 3 million people, we expect to sell like 50,000 like items or whatever they're doing from that, then immediately they're making not only the views, but then they're also making the turnaround and conversion from that.
But
so
then
would that get factored into your price as well?
Yeah, it should definitely should.
Yeah. And if it doesn't sell, then that's a them problem. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's their direction they've decided to go with, and someone at the brand then is in trouble.
Yeah, well, that's why you can't guarantee it.
Yeah.
Because, well, I could guarantee it if I was kind of in control of every single thing in your company, and even then you probably couldn't.
But that's
guarantee
marketing.
it.
Like, it might fuck up, it might go really well and sell loads of things. So, okay, very interesting.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important topic to talk on, which is what I'm glad we touched on that. Okay, so
we definitely just got loads of great sound bites, by the way.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I want to talk about now. So I would say your area and strength and expertise is in creating content and putting it out on platforms and growing your social media using those platforms. So what if you could give me some hard, fast tips on what advice you would give to artists that are trying to share their work in whatever field that's in? So they don't need to be, cook or they could be a videographer, a photographer. They could be a drone pilot. What would you suggest to get those tips out there? Get their work out there.
First thing that comes to mind is definitely connect with other people in your community and other people in your industry. So if you're a photographer, connect with other photographers. Definitely like engage on their content as well, so people see you post frequently, like whether that's photos or videos. Instagrammers used to prioritize like reels and videos. Now they've come out and officially said there's no like waiting, like they all get prioritized equally.
Okay.
So they got a lot of backlash beforehand because photographers like yourself were struggling because reels would just get pushed more and people were like, oh, we'll just post photos as a reel.
Yeah.
And now they've come out and said we're now going to like give them all equal weighting. Okay. So gallery swipes, for example, could do just as well as reels. But definitely just try and post as often as you can. Posting every day is ideal in terms of algorithmically, but it's not great for your mental health because it's just like it's impossible to post every day. Yeah. One thing that I would definitely say to a lot of creators, which none of them do anywhere near enough of, is reposting. So I do that quite a lot, and no one really like knows. I would never know.
I would never
exactly. Yeah. But reposting old content, as long as it's filmed in a similar style and it doesn't look terrible, reposting can do so much wonders for your numbers because 9 times out of 10, the same audience won't see it the second time around or the third time around, but it could do just as well, if not better.
Okay, so I want to talk about that. Like, because as a photographer, like my best work goes onto my page, but I would never think about reposting like an old campaign.
Yeah, so
like that's I would never.
Honestly, like I treat it like a secret weapon because I tell my friends to do it all the time. They're like, nah, I'd rather just make new content. But like just the way that these algorithms work, your whole audience, say I have 100,000 followers, my whole audience is never ever going to see that with just me posting it once. So I'll post it and then maybe it does well, but maybe it didn't do that well. And then I'll post it again, but I might use a different song or a different title or a different thumbnail or a different introduction.
Yeah, because especially as a photographer, I'll do a swipe post with like 10 final images in. But there's no chance that they're seeing the last 5 of those images, really. Like not like you. So like you could recycle the work, but then change the cover image, and it would look like a whole new post.
With the videos that you're doing for this podcast, like you can repost them and try maybe a different title at the front or like a different clip, or even the exact same.
Yeah, this is
with a different caption.
So interesting because we try and post in the mornings and the evenings sometimes because we understand that not everyone that's on Instagram in the morning will be on Instagram in the evening and vice versa. But I never thought about them seeing the content because obviously the one that we post in the morning is different from the evening. Yeah. But that one in the morning was like the only time we posted it.
Yeah, and so it's interesting. So basically how it works is say you've got 100,000 followers, you'll post something and it actually goes out to a very, very small amount of your followers. Right. So say it might go to a pool of just like 100 people.
Goes to like 20 for us.
Yeah, and if that 100 people like the video, comment on it, and watch the whole way through, then it'll say 70% of that 100 get to the end of the video. Yeah. That's telling the algorithm that that's a fucking good video, and it's going to send it to 1,000 people, and then same again until it gets bigger and bigger, and then if it does really well, it'll go to the explore page. Yeah. So it all depends basically on how, and TikTok's even worse for that because with Instagram, a lot of your reach goes to your followers as well as an explore page, like a For You page, whereas for TikTok, every single time you post a new video, it's going to a brand new audience. No one really scrolls through the following For You page. Everyone scrolls through the For You page. Yeah.
That's really good. Interesting.
I'm going to be watching this episode.
That's another great soundbite.
Yeah. So we've started using the schedule.
Don't. Oh my God, it's so bad.
No?
What? It massively tanks your engagement. I don't know if it's a bug.
Really?
Mate, I know ours has been really good.
Really?
No, hold on. Scheduling on Instagram or TikTok though?
Instagram.
No, our Instagram. So we've been scheduling on Instagram and TikTok, and TikTok's been crap. Yeah. And then we've been scheduling on Instagram, and we've got 158 followers, right, on our podcast thing, and they're getting like 3, 4, 5,000 views.
But how do you know that it's from the schedule function? Could it not just be good content?
Yeah, we like to think it's good content as well. But they've all been scheduled posts. So every single post is scheduled, and like they've been engaging really well. It's like this person followed you from your reel, and like we've had like that coming in.
Well, try a few without for like a week.
Yeah,
that is so interesting.
Tomorrow we're doing a collab post with Will, like one of our other guests, and I'm doing it on my main page with him. And it's just going to be a collab, not a schedule. So it'd be interesting to see.
So that's interesting because are you suggesting that, okay, we get between 3,000 and 5,000 views now, but if we didn't schedule that post, maybe it might have got 7,000 or...
You don't know.
Yeah. Well, from all the boys that I've chatted to that have used it, the feature, they've all said it's tanked their engagement.
Okay.
Fascinating.
Because we were like, it's so handy. Like basically we'll sit there, right? And we'll schedule all the posts for the week. Yeah, it's like done.
Yeah, on paper it's ideal, but I think it's still in like a beta mode and it's just not perfectly executed. It's only just come out.
But we've actually seen some good engagement. We've both been like, oh, like this is actually really good.
We're buzzing.
For someone that like for a page and a podcast that's new, getting like 4,000 or 5,000 views on a reel.
That's really
and we were like, we've only got 150 followers. Yeah. Like, we're really, really like chuffed with it.
A few other tips I wrote them down whilst we're on the same topic.
Yeah.
Because basically Instagram came out with a specific like amount of tips to creators recently. Okay. So one I've already said, which is like no watermark like TikTok or CapCut because in both algorithms hate that. Right. So if you download a video on TikTok that you've posted and you upload that onto Instagram Reels, it will get massively tanked because the moving logo. Yeah.
Actually, the moving logo. Yeah. Does it matter if you just post the same video? Well, I suppose it wouldn't, would it? That's just such a basic question. Yeah. And
so Instagram doesn't know that this video exists on TikTok and it's already viral. So
okay.
And also the caption is now analyzed in the same way as hashtag used to be. So every word in your caption is like has to be optimized for SEO and all that. So for example, if I'm making a video on a vegan pasta dish, instead of doing hashtag vegan, hashtag pasta, whatever, I'll just say this tasty vegan pasta dish is so delicious and so easy to make, and every word in that will be analyzed and get pushed. Yeah. So basically that's an argument to YouTube, that's an argument to make sure that your caption is clear and concise and what people are searching for. So if I type in cool new trendy podcast, hopefully your thing will come up for that. Another one is
Yeah, similar to YouTube. YouTube does it where your title.
Would you
also has
still
to match your
recommend to use
description, so-
hashtags in your caption? Then?
Yeah, so before the limit was 30 and I used to use all 30.
Yeah.
Now the limit's like 10 and I use about 3 or 4 and I just
Yeah,
do like
we just use 3 or 4.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you can put them in the caption or the comments. There's
Yeah.
no benefit either way.
Okay.
And then just post stories often as well, whether that's just of your face or just to keep people like engaged in the brand basically.
Yeah, because we haven't been posting stories.
Yeah, we need to take some pictures of this. We should get Luke to like run around outside and be like, "Shh." Do you have anything on posting stories frequently in terms of like?
So-
it used to be every 3 hours, I think.
Yeah,
Something like that.
like a few times a day for sure. But one like hack that a lot of people say is occasionally let your stories expire, and then once you repost, like when you post a new story, that will get way more views. So that does actually work for me occasionally if I'm trying to get a specific amount of views on I don't know a piece of branded content or whatever.
Yeah,
So that's one thing you can try as well.
I've noticed that on my photography page.
Yeah.
So if I haven't posted a story for a while and I post a story up, it'll be like everyone will see.
Yeah, it's weird because they get like pushed to the front basically if you've not posted for a while and you posted a new story and also if that story is in some way engaging, whether it's like oh my god he's on holiday or oh my god he's with his grandma again some really engaging piece of news or even got a sticker on where people have to reply, then that's telling the algorithm like okay this is going to get pushed to the front on everyone else's phone.
Have you noticed anything with the amount of times you engage with your audience with putting one of those stickers on where you can ask questions and get replies and stuff like
So
that?
it definitely helps when you put an engagement sticker on. It definitely helps for the story views as well because people are actually doing something on the story rather than just tapping next.
Yeah. Is there anything coming up in the future or anything that you want to do in the future that you want to hit in terms of, say, like obviously you do food at the moment, but is there anything you'd want to go into that you haven't considered,
next?
but it's kind of got your interest? You know?
So my dream is to have like a cooking show with my Nonna, right? Like, like kind of like Stanley Tucci vibes.
I love Stanley Tucci.
Yeah, same. I saw him.
Fellow
right?
Baldy.
I saw him.
Yeah, he was at the awards.
The awards, and I didn't actually get a chance to speak to him.
Oh,
but
man.
Callum spoke to him, had a selfie.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of fucked it for me. So Callum, if you're watching, I'm blaming you. He basically said, "Oh, I've got this like friend. He's here tonight. He's nominated for an award, and he's with his Nonna. Like, do you want to meet him?
Yeah.
Do you want to meet her?"
Yeah.
And he basically just said no.
Really?
To Callum. So I don't know. He didn't fuck it, but like I feel like if I just naturally had bumped into him, and be like, "Oh, we're nominated for an award," or even like after I'd won the award, I feel like we would have had a better chance of speaking. But it's fine.
Because didn't he win an award?
He won an award, yeah, like 10 minutes before I was on the
What
stage.
award did he win?
I can't even remember. Something like best. Oh no, he won. So it was about his TV show, Search for Italy or something, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And I remember because Big Zoo's show, Hungry for It, was nominated for the same award, and Stanley Tucci won it.
Right, got you.
The dream is to do a cooking show, but it's kind of like I won't be sad if I don't reach it because my grandma's old, and so I'm just going to aim for that, and whatever will happen, happen.
Yeah.
I would love to work on a cookbook one day, which is pretty cool. What else? And just diversify, so not just rely on social media. Maybe even go into some sort of TV presenting job, or
That's happening, man. That's so close to happening.
manifest it.
Honestly, you'd fit right in, literally.
Especially now you're seeing it here on our podcast that is going to
That's
have
it.
millions of viewers.
Dream come true. Honestly.
Yeah, no, it's gonna happen, mate. I'm sure. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, with the cooking show, do you want it to be more like YouTube based, or is it more like Netflix masterclass? Like,
I'd love for it to be on like Netflix or ITV or BBC One. Like have that sort of
Any of the ones
behind.
that pay the money.
Yeah, for sure. I've actually shortlisted for this cool Pinterest thing with BBC Studios, so that might be an opportunity to get me a bit closer to BBC stuff. So yeah, I'm just whatever. This is a cool quote.
wait, let me
You
get
ready,
my notes
Cameron?
up.
You ready?
So what is meant for you will not pass you by, and what passes you by is not meant for you.
So you've been putting that in your morning affirmations.
Yeah, because I read it in a book the other day. I think it was The
No,
Alchemist.
it's like what meant for you won't pass you. It's the best. I
And
love that
what
quote.
does pass you was not meant for you in the first place. So I'm a big believer of that. So I've been saying it to myself every day, as Matt knows.
You have.
And
I feel like we need to give them some context here.
yeah, we basically just share like
So every day, me and Giuseppe journal, and we've done it every day since Boxing Day.
maybe we've skipped like 1 or 2
You've
days.
skipped 2 days,
Okay,
3
fair,
days.
fair.
I've skipped like 1.
Okay,
I think.
it's definitely like more than
2.
that. Probably 2 or 3.
Right, yeah. But like every morning we'll journal and we have to say what we're grateful for, what are today's affirmations, like, and then we screenshot it and we send it to each other on WhatsApp every morning.
So we've got a shitload of screenshots.
So
we
we've
need to
got,
go through.
so we've done that every day since Christmas last year. So yeah, and I've noticed, to be fair, most of your affirmations recently have been like, what's meant for you won't pass you. And I think that's so true.
And when you believe it, it's like just obviously like follow your specific passions and whatnot, but certain opportunities will either come or go, and it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah, just let life happen.
Yeah. Sorry to go back to the cookbook again,
So
but
good.
is there any cooking books that you would recommend to anyone listening, like getting into?
Yeah, actually, I'll shout out Callum because he'll probably hate me if I don't.
Gonna say
20-minute vegan.
there'll be words if you don't.
I know. No, it's actually a really good cookbook. My family have got it, and they've said it's like one of the best cookbooks they've ever seen. It's got loads of great, like, accessible 20-minute vegan recipes. Hopefully, I'll get a cut from it now for saying that.
You need like an affiliate code.
It came out the other
yeah.
night, didn't it?
Yeah, it came on the 11th of May, so I don't know. I'm looking at my wrist without a watch on it. What else? I mean, all the Bosch cookbooks are really good. Like, they're classics, really, really great bestsellers. And then hopefully mine in a couple of years.
Okay.
So just don't buy any cookbooks until then.
I do have one more question to close this off.
Go for it.
What is your favourite kitchen or cooking utility? Like instrument, I guess?
Okay.
Utensil is
Utensil,
the correct
that's
word.
it.
Utensil.
Oh, so not like actual machine, but utensil.
It could be like a spatula, or it could be the oven. I don't, you know.
Okay. Okay, good question.
All those meals you cook with your...
I'm going to say my juicer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
nah,
love
you
my
do,
juicer.
yeah, you do.
I've recently got into, like, I've had it for about 3-4 years, but I've recently got into it. I'm not sponsored to say it, but it's a Nonna juicer, and it's like one of the best ever. Basically, it's a cold press juicer, because a lot of juicers you buy out, the cheap ones, they're called centrifugal juicers. I sound like such a juicing nerd right now, but basically it just whizzes the food around and then filters it, and then that destroys all the nutrients and oxidizes it. But a cold press juicer just crushes the fruit and filters it through a sieve. So that's great. I'd say that. Other than that, air fryer.
Oh man, I've heard so much about air fryers. My mummy's going.
Everyone's
off
hyping
on
up.
one,
Freddie
yeah.
was like, my parents have just got a new place, and he was like, I'm going to get them an air fryer as their like moving in present, but I've never used one.
They are good.
Yeah.
What would you use it for?
Basically anything you use an oven for, but it just does it a lot quicker and easier and gets like a nicer crust on it. And you can just like shake it really easily, just do that. So it's basically a glorified oven, but
okay, interesting. Any last words, Giuseppe, before we finish the episode?
Thank you for having me on. Thank you for having me on. I'm very appreciative of this conversation, and I wish you all lots of success. I'm actually waiting on a late invoice as well right now, so hopefully I get paid soon.
So you can relate to the title?
I can relate, yeah.
Where can the audience find you?
Yeah.
At Sepps, which is SEPPS.
Not Sepps Eats, ladies and gents.
No, that's all
It's
you
now
need to know.
changed.
Sepps.
At Sepps. And are you on YouTube? Let's not go there.
It's not worth it. I mean, just follow me on Instagram and you'll go from there.
Yeah, fair. Okay. Well, thanks for having you on, mate. Really appreciate
Thank
you
you very
coming down
much.
and taking the time. Thanks for watching whatever platform you've been on. I'm Matt Pearson. I'm with my co-host Cameron Hall.
I was going to say hello, but I guess this is goodbye. So,
And thanks for watching today's episode, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.
that was a really good episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you are listening on Spotify or Apple Music, please head to the show notes below and check out any of the things that we spoke about linked down there. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button. And if you want to hear about more topics, maybe even some that we haven't spoke about, please leave them in the comments below and we'll make sure to check them out and maybe make an episode on it.